All right, welcome back. You're with us here on Editors Roundtable. Now, the question we're asking is the Nifty PSE index, that's a public sector enterprises index, on the verge of a multi-decadal breakout? Nimish has walked across to the big wall and he's got some interesting data. Nimish, over to you.
Thanks, Prashant. So, so we all know that the PSU bank index has been a big rally this year, but my focus today is on the non-banking PSUs. Yes, I'm talking about the Nifty PSE index, which is the private sector enterprises index. Now, why I'm saying it could be on the verge of a technical breakout, the reason is very simple. If you look at the chart, currently we are around 4,400 to 4,500 levels. We're just 4 to 5% away from breaking the all-time highs. The all-time high on this index was 4687. As I said, 4 to 5% away. The recent high was 4430. We are pretty much around those levels. Now, if you look at the chart, in these the all-time high was way back in 2008. We've not seen that levels since 2008. And 4 to 5 times we've attempted to cross that level and we've failed. So this is the reason why I'm saying if this breaks out, it could be a multi-decade breakout for the Nifty PSE index. Now, even if you look at the fundamentals, like I've compared with 2017 and 2022. In 2017, the price to earnings was 15.3. Currently, it's just at 8 times. So in that context, it's looking good. If you look at the price to book, in 2017, the price to book was close to 1.4. Today, it's just 1.1. So even that is looking good. If you look at the dividend yield, in 2017, the dividend yield of this basket was just 3.5%. Today, it's yielding 6% dividend yield. So even that has improved in the last 5 years. Now, which are the big gainers in this PSE basket for this year? This year, the biggest gainer was HAL, up 117%. Coal India is up 56%. BEL, BHEL was a surprise move, up 45%. NTPC, NHPC, the power companies are doing good, 40%. And Concor is up 25%. The big losers, of course, it's going to be the metal names. So Nalco and SAIL within the metal names, they are the big losers. LIC was down 18%. IRCTC, because of that overhang, is down 16%. And the two oil companies, HPCL and BPCL, down 15 and 9% each. So these were the big losers. Now, look at the high dividend yield of these companies. The biggest highest dividend yield within this basket is Coal India, 20%. Even I was surprised that Coal India gives 20% dividends. Power Finance is up, gives a dividend of 8.3%. ONGC is close to 8%. The likes of Oil India, Power Grid around 6%, and HPCL gives a dividend of 5.7%. Now, which are the big stocks which can break the index? Now, the biggest weight in this basket is NTPC, close to 15% weight. Power Grid has a weight of 13.7%. ONGC has 9.8%. And Coal India has got 8.5%. The focus of this is largely because in the last quarter, we normally see big dividend payouts because government wants money. So dividend payout is going to be a big trigger for these companies. But technically, it looks like, given the kind of fundamentals we have, if there is a big breakout in that PSE Nifty index, you could say big move. And there are now a lot of tailwinds which are supporting these companies. And hence, the Nifty PSE index is something that investors should watch out for, at least for the next quarter.
Okay, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that. So that's something to keep an eye on. Are we at the verge of a multi-year breakout in the PSU stocks? Rahul Arora is joining us now, as discussed. Rahul, hi, good evening. Any of these stocks that you're buying right now in the PSU basket?
So I think, Anuj, from a valuation standpoint, PSU banks, I think SBI and Bank of Baroda still have a play. I think given the fact that, you would have seen the numbers of SBI at the end of last quarter, the ROA, ROEs, as Nimesh was talking about, are at multi-year highs. And I think because the return ratios are improving, people are now ready to pay the kind of increasing price. And I think the other basket, because the Prime Minister is so positive on defense and he's trying to do everything he can, I think you're seeing a lot of rush on PSU defense, and that could be, another interesting aspect.
That's so I think your preferred play as well, but don't you think it's getting a bit crowded now? You think still room for...
Well, Anuj, see, typically what happens is, if I take you back to a Reliance or a Hindustan Lever that had 10-year consolidations and then broke out and became 10 baggers. So I don't necessarily think that we're there yet in some of these names. I think, SBI, for example, I mean, we've seen what's happened to HDFC as the last decade. You have SBI Life Insurance listed. At some stage, SBI Mutual Fund will list. So there are a lot of these guys, So I think there is a sum of the part valuations also that will probably come into play. So I think, sometimes it too fast, too soon. I think that's probably happened to the chemical sector also, you can say that. But I think these themes are slightly more long drawn out, and because they're coming out of, multi-year breakouts, these possibly can sustain. I think not so much. I mean, there'll be a little bit of an earnings catch-up, but can these stocks still compound from here? I think there is a definite case.
Well, Rahul, this week there were quite a few deals that were announced, right? We had from the cement play, you had pharma, and then you had the housing finance arm as well as Poonawalla Finance. Street was a little bit confused on two of them. That's the Dalmia Bharat deal as well as the Poonawalla FinCorp deal. For JB Chemicals, it was an outright positive, 10%, I think, in terms of revenue addition. What's your sense? Any of these deals, are you positive on any of the stocks that were involved?
So I think, the issue with the cement deal, of course, is that there is a public sector undertaking that's a very large shareholder there, and we don't know how that's going to pan out because they hold almost a 26% stake in that company. And then, of course, there are logistical challenges about that region and the kind of transport that you'll see on cement. So when I spoke to my cement analyst, she doesn't necessarily believe that it's a done deal yet. I think this could probably evolve as time goes on. On the other space, on housing finance, we do track Poonawalla. I think if he does want to focus on everything non-housing, I think this capital will help boost up his overall tier 1 plus tier 2 ratio, and will probably give him the growth capital that he needs. I think 20-25% compounding with the kind of management pedigree that you have and the return ratios, I don't think it's too expensive. I think, this is a company that's probably coming to you at about 12-13% ROE.
There's a fintech acquisition also coming. That's what he told us.
So it's very possible. Like I said, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be, president. I'll give you a classic case about gold finance, right? One of the reasons that the market used to always ascribe a premium to Muthoot over Manappuram was because Manappuram went into LAP, it went into MSME, it went into vehicle financing. So sometimes people just like you to focus on one particular core because banking has, people are trying to diversify too much too quickly. So I think from a growth capital standpoint, no harm done for Poonawalla. Cement, I don't think it's a done deal yet. JV Chemicals has been our top pick in the mid-cap pharma space. I think it's a great acquisition, and it's not the first. He's done a couple of others. A bit of a question mark on cement, buyer in JV. I think I'd be a buyer in Poonawalla as well.
What about 2023? We're trading at valuations of close to about 20 times. In the past, in the last 2 decades, when we've traded at these valuations, the kind of returns that we've got have been fairly moderate, subpar, you would say. Are those the kind of returns we should expect in 2023 as well?
So I think, Reema, what's happening is alternate asset classes are emerging. You could probably put your money into a 10-year GSEC today and get 7.5% without doing anything. Fixed deposit rates for different people at different age groups are between 7.25% to 8.5%, depending on which bank you pick up. So these are now emerging as very credible alternates to equity markets. The tough challenge, I think, is that the economic impact of these rate increases hasn't been felt yet. HCL Tech is probably the first company that's actually called out something. I think this is going to get more pronounced. So I genuinely think that it's going to be a very, very challenging year. We may well land up closing next year at very similar levels at 18.5, 19,000, but that may not be without probably retesting the lows that you saw at the start of the war. So I think there's a genuine case for the Nifty to revisit 15, 16,000, but you'll see very aggressive buying there. So I think for the year, the 2023, it's probably going to land up being a very volatile year, but I think at best you'll probably have flat headline returns, but that's not to say that you won't make money in stocks. I think it could be a great time when the market corrects. This could be the beginning of it. It may not be. I don't know. But I think that the economic impact hasn't been felt. Earnings downgrades haven't even started yet, and they are going to happen with the cost of capital going up. So I think you need to just brace for some challenging times and not expect a linear run like you saw from 7.5 to 18,500 on the Nifty.
Okay, quick question, France or Argentina?
Well, Anuj, as you know, we had spoken on air as well before it started, and 50% has made it there. I was hoping for a France or Brazil final. I think just looking at the construct, the way France played their last match against Morocco and the kind of chances they gave Morocco, if they give those kind of chances to Argentina, I don't know. But just since I've backed France from the start, I'd say 51-49 in favor of France. But
is this your head or your heart talking?
I think, if you compare the two frontliners, I think Mbappe is a little quicker than Messi is right now. I think that's where the headline is going to be. I think the head is still saying 51-49 France, but if Messi has a Sachin Tendulkar moment where he goes out on a high with the World Cup on his hand.
51-49 is neither here nor there. It's like, Anu said what, 5-1, right?
So I still think it's going to be a very high goal scoring game. I think, I think it's probably going to be 3-2 whichever way it goes. But okay, I'll probably say 60-40 France. I'll probably up it because I've backed France from the very beginning, and it'll be great to see a defending champion come in. But it'll be an equally huge
Guys,
fairy tale of Messi.
You got to bet with your heart, not just your head all the time.
See, there have been so many underdogs in this tournament. I mean, at one point the heart was even rooting for Croatia, to be very honest. But I just think that, God has his plans. I mean, this is not the way Ronaldo would have wanted his campaign to end. So, you never know. God has plans for all of us. If it's meant to be Messi's moment,
I'm just happy it's at It's on Sunday.
8:30 p.m.
It's not at midnight. Thank God. It's at 8:30.
That is so true.
Okay, on that great note, we're going to wrap up on another edition of Editors Roundtable. Thank you for watching.